Nancy Green here with Film Critique, and my question is for everyone. These movies were so great, and so I wanted to know for you, how did you get involved with working with Blumhouse and getting into these films?
Yeah, no, I've worked with Blumhouse before. I did my feature debut with them. I did my first episodic with them for the Purge TV show. Um, so this was really a blast working again with them. But it was my first time with Amazon, so it was really neat to just have the genre experts of Blumhouse with such an incredible platform like Amazon, who have such a wide audience. It really was such a blessing and such a great opportunity to work with both. Yeah.
For me, I was actually, making horror films has always been a dream of mine, and I'd always wanted to make a feature with Blumhouse. I just can remember from like the first time watching any Blumhouse movie and being like, that is my goal, that is what I want. And so I've been making short horrors and short and anthology horrors with other companies, but like still circling like, oh, I hope I can work with Blumhouse one day. And I was actually pitching another horror film for Amazon, and they didn't end up buying that movie, but they're like, we're looking for directors for this new slate of films. We've got this script that, maybe you'd be interested. It's about vampires. I'm like, what is it? And I read it and I absolutely fell in love with the script. I had never seen anything like it. Not only was it, about a young woman of color, but it was also about slaying vampires. And I just related so much to that character and felt like that could be me. I could be a badass vampire slayer. And so I pitched on the movie, and they luckily like loved it. And so within the next week, I was flown to New Orleans to make this movie. So it was really a dream come true, a lifetime of work, and then being like swept away into this process of making this movie.
For me, Blumhouse brought me in, they sent me the script, and I was very interested in the idea of like true horror, which is, like ghosts and stuff are scary, monsters are scary, but it's the reality of what we do to each other that's like the most terrifying thing for me. And so seeing that, identifying with it, and identifying with Diana, who goes through her own like questioning of where she fits in and the Mexican culture, was something that I really wanted to explore and wanted to give voice to. And I also wanted to bring light to a subject that is really unfortunate and horrifying. And I think that this film definitely brought more awareness to it. And I think that's like the biggest accomplishment for me.
Thank you. Yeah, and I really enjoyed these films, and the thing you said about true horror, that was I actually watched the premiere with the Welcome to the Blumhouse, and that was something that I instantly thought about, that is that it was true horror, and all of these movies, they had something like communal, and so that was something I really liked. Thank you. So I had some kind of leftover questions about each of the movies, Bingo Hell, Black is Night, Madres. And I was wondering, will they be explored further, like those topics be explored further in other projects? Especially you were talking earlier about the social issues, and I felt like there were some ways that it could be explored more. And I know with Gigi, you've worked on Purge, and I've seen other things that you've worked on. So I was kind of wondering if that was something that was in the works for all of you.
Are you talking about just social commentary in general, or the themes within our films?
The themselves, because like especially with like Black is Night, I was wondering about, what the history was of the lead vampire and what other commentary could go into that, like in a television show. Same thing with Madres, because that's a topic, I mean, especially that's been in the Black community as well, sterilization, genetic experimentation, that sort of thing. And with Bingo Hell, I was actually really curious about where Mr. Big came from and the history of that. So, I wanted to know more about those things, and I just wondered if there would be future projects, whether television or additional movies.
Thank you so much for a great question. I hope so. We have had a lot of interest in, doing a second part with Pedro's story and kind of continuing it that way. But I've also had a lot of interest in exploring Babineau's history, which would be amazing. It would be a lot more expensive because it goes back into history, and it's a very way more expensive story than I think that would, for this budget range. But I would love to do that, and that would just be a conversation with Sherman, who's, the writer creator of this movie, and see what his availability is. Because I know he's currently writing like 4 movies right now and that are about to go into production. And but yes, that would be amazing to continue this conversation, because I do feel like it's very much a cliffhanger and there's so much more to explore on it, and a conversation that needs to continue. Yeah.
I've gotten the most hilarious tweets from fans being like, we need the prequel to Lupita and Dolores's backstory. That's been really fun to see, people wanting to see those 2 awesome leads, where they came from when they were younger. What was it like? How did they kick out the gangs of Oak Springs? That's been really, really fun. And even just our villain has gotten a lot of attention online, with Richard Brake playing Mr. Big. People just want it more. I like how you said that you wanted to know more of where he came from and all that. And it was a purposeful choice of mine to keep him so mysterious and just a bit unexplained. I wanted people's interpretation to happen for this character. Basically, at the end of the day, Mr. Big, he just represents, he's just the metaphor and the manifestation of greed and gentrification, of just that symbolism of getting rid of the old ways, old traditions, anything that's from the past, erasing the past. And we thought it would be really interesting through a character that is so manipulative, so charming, that, you fall for it. Just like the nearest car salesman, you'll go and buy that car because they're super convincing. So we wanted somebody really fun, but we haven't thought about expanding it further. But I think that would be really neat. Yeah, that's that.
I don't think I'll do another, never say never, but I don't know that I'll do another forced sterilization film. I think that that's a subject it's still happening. It's not like it's like in the past. And unfortunately, it's news to a lot of people. I think those women deserve a chance to be heard, and hopefully the film will generate interest enough to watch the documentary. I think it's called No Mas Bebés, or you could just read about the issue. It's not just women of color, it's women with disabilities. It's a real problem. But I do want to continue to explore in everything that I do some of the conversations that are started in the film with the culture. I like to explore the nuance in the culture, and I don't think that oftentimes films that have as wide of a distribution get a chance to do that and to talk about what it means to be a hyphenated American, what it means to be a minority in this country. And I'm very interested in exploring all of that.